CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
As we welcome you back, a look at John Harbaugh, who is in his 9th year as the head man of the Baltimore Ravens. On the other side of the field, Ben McAdoo, the rookie head coach of the New York Giants. Nice day down here, Sunday afternoon. Down to the sidelines and our Jamie Erdahl. Jamie.
Greg, thank you. If you take over an offense just 6 days ago, as Marty Mornhinweg has done in Baltimore, you'd want all your top tools to make sure that transition goes smoothly. Not the case for the Ravens today without Steve Smith Sr., as you mentioned earlier. Plus, Joe Flacco has 2 offensive linemen down in Marshall Yanda and Ronnie Stanley. But really, it's not just linemen, it's experience. 20 Pro Bowl selections not on the field for the Ravens today. Tough to do that on the road, Greg.
Jamie, thank you. A bunch of game changers on that list who are not active today. Giants have won the toss and have deferred, which means that Baltimore will get their hands on the football first, and Marty Mornhinweg can start dialing them up.
Well, and I think he's excited about this opportunity. I know the players that we talked to were excited about it. They said when Marty came into meetings, just the energy he brought, the players were looking forward to this, and they were also very quick to point out not to put all the blame on Mark Trestman. They said as players, we have to play better, not only for Marty Mornhinweg, but in order to keep this offense going and get the points on the board that they'll need.
Chris Moore is deep, and he will not get a chance to run this one back until Baltimore will start at its own 25-yard line. And the Ravens want and need to get number 5, Joe Flacco, in gear. 5 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. His offense ranks in the lower half of the league in all the important categories, Trent. And for a man who has the quality arm that Joe Flacco has, that's criminal.
Well, I think the stat that just popped up that shocked me the most is the second lowest in terms of yards per attempt, because as you said, he has a big arm and will throw it up the field.
On first down, Flacco to throw it outside, and it's broken up on the far side of the field by number 41, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. On the Baltimore offensive line, first-round draft pick Ronnie Stanley, bothered by a sore foot, misses a 3rd straight game today, and all the juggling that has gone on. Jeremy Zuda, the lone starter from a week ago. Meanwhile, Dennis Pitta is one of the main receivers, back and healthy. 28 catches on the year for him. This is Terrence West, and West slips as he tries to make the cut. Looks like it'll be about a 1.5 or 2 yard pickup. Giant defense looking for a pass rush. Jason Pierre-Paul, one of those supposed to deliver. He has one of New York's league worst 4 on the year. Devon Kennard, questionable. All week long, he does start at linebacker. And the Giants, with only 2 interceptions so far, 5th-year corner Janoris Jenkins has both for New York. 3rd and 9. Flacco under pressure as he let it go down the middle of the field and caught inside the 35 by Brashad Perriman. He went up and got it between 2 defenders, and we saw that Joe Flacco arm that we were just talking about.
Well, they've been talking about the pressure or the lack of pressure the Giants have been able to bring. That time bringing linebacker and safety pressure. And we also talked about the Ravens pushing the ball up the field. This time the deep pass, and Perriman able to jump up between the 2 defenders and come down with it.
41-yard pickup. Now from the 33, this is West. And West spinning and brought down at about the 27-yard line by Landon Collins. Marty Mornhinweg, a well-known man around football circles.
Well, and I think most recently you think of him as the offensive coordinator with the Jets here in 2013 and 14, but this is his 2nd year on the staff with Baltimore. He was the quarterback coach promoted this week to offensive coordinator, and there have been some subtle changes that we'll see as this game continues.
How about it's the 2nd time he's replaced Mark Trestman as an offensive coordinator. He did so in San Francisco. Terrence West, no running room as the Giant defense converges to stop him at the 33, or the 28-yard line.
Well, I think the Giants have been hearing about how the Ravens want to run the football, and change their approach and go back to Ravens football, play big physical football, run the football downhill. So far, the Giants are doing an effective job stopping them in the run game. Bringing up another 3rd and long, Greg.
3rd and 5, and Flacco needs the 23 for a first down. Running short of time, he got rid of it. Juszczyk out of the backfield, has a first down and more. Inside the 10 to about the 5, and it'll be 1st and goal.
Juszczyk is lined up in the backfield with Flacco. You can see Joe looking out to his right. Wants to find a receiver, but Juszczyk has the check down. Giants just lose him over on that far sideline. Able to collapse that pocket around Flacco, but he stands firm in there and is able to get to the check down.
Juszczyk comes to the near side of the field. And the Giants trying to make a late change. And they will. Terrence West in the backfield. 1st and goal from the 10. Flacco with time, throwing off the fingertips at the 5-yard line. Intended for Dennis Pitta, the tight end. We talked with Dennis Pitta last night. It was nice to see him back in and healthy.
You know, he's been battling injuries now for a good 3 years, 13, 14, and 15. He's missed so much time in those 3 seasons, and questioning whether or not he thought he would be healthy enough to play football again. He said, well, I wanted to, and I was working at it. He was at peace with the fact that he may not be able to get back to the level he is, but he feels great, feels healthy, and gives a great underneath target for Joe Flacco.
Early movement up front. That's John Urschel.
Start, number 64, offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
If that snap had gone off, Urschel would have had a really good jump on the whole play.
He would have, but he didn't. He about ran over Zuda.
A bunch of changes on that Ravens offensive line, which is also going to present a little bit of a challenge for Joe Flacco and Marty Morningweg today. From the 15-yard line, 2nd and goal. Quick pass to the outside to Perriman. And Perriman to about the 13-yard line.
Well, this is where you talk about the defense, and then you start getting down towards the end zone and things collapse. And so from a coverage standpoint, the windows become a lot smaller. And the Ravens are known for using 2 tight end packages, 2nd in the National Football League, and using 2 tight end packages. So you think down here on 3rd and long or 3rd and long and 3rd and goal, but also a long distance, you would spread it out. But they're trying to find some matchups right now with both tight ends in the game, with Crockett Gilmore in there as well as Pitta.
Flacco stands in over the middle, and that is complete just short of the 5-yard line to Pitta. But that'll bring on the field goal unit.
Well, and Joe Flacco talked to us yesterday about the patience you have to have. As much as you want to try pushing the ball up the field, we talked to him about, you know, those types of passes, the big plays up the field, and why the Ravens haven't been doing that a lot this season. He said, you know, I'm not going to throw it just to throw it. I've got to be smart with the football, understand what I have on the defensive side, and he did that time. Instead of pushing it into the end zone, said, you know what, we'll throw the underneath. If we happen to make a play, great. Otherwise, we'll settle for a Tucker attempt.
From 23 yards out, it is good. Justin Tucker, perfect on the season. 6 out of 6, 7 out of 7 in points after. Eli Manning gets his chance after this. 10-play drive for the Baltimore Ravens. Justin Tucker finishes it off with a 23-yard field goal, and the Ravens with a 3-0 lead. Dwayne Harris, number 3 in the NFL, beginning week 6 in kickoff returns, averaging 28.7 per try. And he will not get to return this one as it floats out of the end zone. And there is Eli Manning. Started the season well, but completing less than 58% of his throws the last 3 weeks. Looking for regular season career win number 100 today. And first and foremost, this is the quarterback's lament, isn't it? You got to protect him.
Well, and with Ben McAdoo, you know that he's been there for a couple years. So even though this is his first time as a head coach, it's the same offense they ran a year ago. And with the number of 3 wide receiver sets they run, it's about getting the ball out of your hands quickly if you're going to put that much pressure on the offensive line.
Rashad Jennings is in the backfield for the Giants. He's missed the last 3 games with a thumb injury. Manning with a throw. And that's Beckham. Lost the football out at the 30-yard line. And covered by Baltimore. Now, let's see what the call is. Jeff Triplett says it belongs to Baltimore.
Ruling on the field is a catch. Fumble. First down, Baltimore.
All turnovers are automatically reviewed. The ball is clearly coming out. It's whether or not they think he has possession long enough to make it a catch. Zach Orr is the one that gets the fumble recovery, if that's what it's ultimately determined.
And they're going to take a look. We'll take a break. If it is a lost fumble by the Giants, it's the 7th for them this year, second most in the NFL.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Verizon. Welcome to Verizon LTE Advanced, the next-gen network. And by Ameriprise Financial.
Let's go to Jeff Triplett for the decision.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands.
As we looked at it during the break, Trent, pretty much what we saw too.
It was pretty clear it was a fumble. You have to determine if he has possession long enough and makes a football move. You can see he catches it, both feet are on the ground, both hands. He's turning upfield when the ball comes loose. Clear recovery by Zach Orr.
Play fake, Flacco. Now the short pass, that's complete. Turns West out of the backfield inside the 25 to the 22-yard line where Devon Kennard made the stop.
Well, Greg, you and I both at commercial break were talking about this is the part of the field where you want to take a shot to the end zone. When you get a quick change from your defense, you're on this side of the 50. The Giants were ready for it, and Flacco had the patience to just wait and hit the check down.
Is that a psychological move? You know, the team that's turned the ball over, and then all of a sudden you just try to...
and add on. You try and keep that momentum, and you just try and add on to what's going on.
2nd and 2, West. And that's going to be no gain. It'll be 3rd and 2. Kennard combining with Landon Collins for the stop. Now, to talk about things that affect momentum, it would be big for the Giants to be able to put a stop on the Ravens after the turnover.
Well, and that's the reverse side of it. So coaches always talk about situational football, and one of the things they talk about is quick change, whether it's on the offense or defensive side. How are you going to respond to quick change? And from a defensive standpoint, that's what your thought is. Okay, you get the ball on this side, you're backed up against your own end zone, you want to hold them to a field goal.
Give it to West, and West straight ahead and has the first down inside the 20 to the 18-yard line.
Greg, we mentioned all the changes on the offensive line for the Baltimore Ravens coming into this game today, and that time on 3rd and short when they needed it, they just powered it right through the middle behind Urschel and Zuda.
New set of downs for Flacco. Flacco to the 15, complete to Kamar Aiken, and Aiken out of bounds at about the 6. And it'll be 1st and goal.
Kamar Aiken just lined up in the left slot for Joe Flacco, and he just does an in and out. So it looks like it's going to be a dart or crossing route. He gets about 5 yards over the ball and plants his foot in the ground and escapes to the outside.
So what have you seen so far from that shuffled makeshift offensive line of the Ravens, especially against a Giant defense that absolutely needs to pressure the quarterback?
Well, the hard part is the Giants offensively only have the one play after the turnover, so now this defense has been on the field for a while.
Flacco throwing, and to the goal line is Pitta, and Pitta is stopped at about the half-yard line.
A little extracurricular going on after the play. Olivier Vernon for the Giants. You can see that that's a couple times today now. We've already seen it. So I think the Giants defense is tired of reading about they're not getting after it.
Overpaid is a word that's been used.
Well, that can fire you up when you're continually asked the same question over and over again, and you can see
3 tight ends on the field now for the Ravens. West, straight ahead, diving to the end zone for the touchdown. So the Ravens turn the Odell Beckham Jr. fumble into points on the board.
And once again, going behind left guard John Urschel, and Zuda right in the middle, working that part of the defensive line, taking it up over the top. Not the start the Giants were looking for, that's for sure. Now they need their offense to respond and come out and put together a drive. It'd be great to get points on the board, but if anything, you've got to put together a drive and give your defense a chance to regroup.
Justin Tucker for the extra point. And it is good. 6:42 to play in the first quarter of a game that has been all Baltimore so far. Weddle the hit or the recovery. Terrence West the touchdown. A reminder for you, Thursday, your weekend begins here. It's an AMFC North grudge match. The Chicago Bears visiting the Green Bay Packers. Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. Fred, how many times do you think, oh, never mind, you're going to look at it and cheat anyway? Bears and Packers meeting for the 193rd time. 193 times.
It's unbelievable, the history of that matchup. And growing up in the Midwest, I watched it, I wouldn't say 103 times, but I've watched it a lot.
Me too. I remember all this Harlan Hill. I remember Harlan Hill. So here's Eli trying to jumpstart the offense. Looking for career touchdown pass number 300 on the same day that he is looking for regular season win number 100. Baltimore up 10-0. And here's Manning from his own 25. Jennings. Maybe for about 2 on that giant offensive line. A calf injury sidelines right tackle Marshall Newhouse. Bobby Hart in his second year out of Florida State starts. And all eyes, even more so now, on Odell Beckham Jr. Talented, volatile, exciting, and excitable.
Well, he got off to a bad start with that turnover, so look for him to try and make up for it.
118.
Manning with time over the middle and through behind his intended receiver Victor Cruz. Ravens 3-4 defense. Timmy Jernigan is a handful. 3 sacks, playing extremely well. How about Terrell Suggs, back for a 14th season after missing last year with a torn Achilles. Ravens all-time sack leader has a team-leading 4. And we'll keep an eye on quarterback Jimmy Smith, who through the press this week exchanged not so subtle challenges with Odell Beckham Jr.
Hey, go 3-4-5. Drop. That's it. Yeah. 180. Right, sit.
Manning on 3rd and 8. Has time. Up the seam. Off the hands of his intended receiver, Sterling Shepard, the rookie wide receiver from Oklahoma.
When you can see there was something that Eli Manning recognized in a coverage and a pressure, gave a signal to Sterling Shepard to adjust his route. Just a little too high up the field. You see Weddle reading him right from the top, right in the middle of the field. He tracked Eli's eyes over to that seam.
Darius Webb takes a look and can play this one from his own 25. And goes down at about the 28-yard line. And we have a penalty marker down. 2 of them.
During the kick, Ely used the hands to the face, number 51 in the kicking team. That 10-yard penalty added the end of the play, first down, timeout.
Illegal hand to the face call, and here's Joe Flacco and company getting ready to go back to work. We're back after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Fiat and by Bud Light. Make the right call. Drink responsibly.
We mentioned the Ravens have had things all their own way so far. Look at the time of possession. 8-11 to just 1 minute for the Giants. 70-yard drive to start things off for Baltimore, and then the turnover on the fumble by Odell Beckham didn't help the Giants either. Flacco for West, right side. Busts across the 40 and out to about the 42. Hey, be the first to know your team's news with the CBS Sports app. Get instant updates, expert analysis, highlights, and more. Download the CBS Sports app today. So, Trent, what are we looking for if we're looking for an offense now being directed by Marty Morningway?
Well, he said some of the subtleties that we would see, and it wasn't coming directly from Marty, but from some of the players, is just some of the adjustments that you make to routes that would be different than what Mark Trestman did, and then some of the ways that you call the running game and the rhythm that you call the game.
Flacco got it away, complete over the middle to Wallace, and Wallace across midfield to the Giants' 48-yard line and a first down for Baltimore.
Well, Baltimore right now is doing an effective job with their play calling in that they like to get vertical routes up the field, but they have an outlet. So that time the Giants bring pressure. They brought secondary pressure from the left. Joe Flacco slides a little bit in the pocket, says, I don't have time to look for my target up the field. Go ahead and take the underneath route.
Flacco on the move, throw, sideline incomplete. Pass intended for Brashad Perriman. You saw that Flacco has 104 yards throwing already.
Yeah, he's done an effective job spreading the football around. That time the Giants were in great position. Yeah, they fell for the fake, and so he was open on the bootleg getting outside the pocket. But all the receivers up the field, they had a deep route coming from the backside, Pitta crossing across the middle. There was nowhere really to go other than to try and dance it along that sideline and just too far out of reach.
4.5 minutes to play here in the first. Second and 10. Another play fake. Flacco. And threw it away. You know, one of the numbers that's stuck out to me, Trent, as we got ready for this game, was Joe Flacco with that great arm of his and averaging less than 6 yards per passing attempt.
You and I both shook our heads when we saw that stat. We couldn't believe it. That under 6 yards. Second fewest in the National Football League when you consider Joe's made a career out of pushing the ball down the field.
And the game numbers have showed it. He has thrown for less than 300 yards in 4 of the 5 games that they've played so far this year. 3rd and 10.
Big third down for the Giants defensively.
Penalty marker flies as Flacco has time and throws. It's complete. Use check down the sideline. And now let's check the flag. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie came close defending on the play.
Illegal formation, offense. An ineligible number was on the end of the line and had not reported. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
So that wipes out a 19-yard advance.
Well, the one that gets lucky here is Rodgers-Cromartie. You have to understand as a defense, it's 3rd and 10. Why are you trying to undercut it and either tip the ball away, or even if you get lucky enough to dive and make the interception, because you're on the ground, you're going to get tackled right away. So in that situation, just go behind the receiver, tackle him, and force him to punt. I don't understand why he took the risk in that situation. He got lucky that they didn't get the conversion.
So now it's 3rd and 15 for Baltimore. Set up the screen, and it's disrupted at the line of scrimmage by Jason Pierre-Paul.
Well, defensive linemen are taught 3rd and long situations, you look for that screen, so you get that initial push off the line. He sees the way the linemen are blocking, able to get his hand up and knock it down.
So Sam Cook on to punt it away for Baltimore, and Dwayne Harris is deep. Fair catch called for and made at about the 7-yard line. And we have a penalty marker back at the 45. Jeff Triplett indicating holding against the Ravens and looks to the Giants sideline.
Prior to the kick, holding 46 of the kicking team. That penalty will be added to the end of the play. First down, timeout.
So they will tack on the yardage. Morgan Cox, the long snapper, was the guilty party. Before the game today, here in the stadium, we took a moment of silence to honor Dennis Byrd, who passed away yesterday after a car accident taking place outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma at the age of 50. Played 4 years in the NFL for the New York Jets before being paralyzed by a play on the field, which ended his career. He is survived by his wife, Angela, and his 4 children. And I have to tell you, if you were ever privileged to know Dennis Byrd, then you'd remember it for a long, long time.
A real tragedy, Greg.
The Giants at their own 18-yard line. This is Jenkins. And not the easiest thing in the world to run on a Baltimore defense that only allows 76 yards rushing a game. These are the Giants' first 2 possessions. 1 fumble and 1 punt.
Trying to change the tempo up here, the Giants.
On 2nd and 8. Manning for Jenkins. There's just no running room against this Baltimore defense.
Not a lot of space right now for the Giants, and they've got to try and get something going. You just put up what their last or their first 2 series have been, and if anything, give their defense a rest. But offensively, just have to get something going. They've been struggling now the last 3 weeks on offense. Get a conversion back.
3rd and 5.
Hey, go 50, go to 50. 118.
Manning looks this way. That is complete to Sterling Shepard, and Shepard to about the 32-yard line. It looks to be about a yard shy of a first down. The fans boo as the punting unit comes on, but that feels like the right call here.
Yeah, it's too early to be that risky and go for it on 4th down in your own territory. You know, the fans may be booing about the play selection, but that's really all Eli Manning had on that play. When you look at the pressure, they angled protection to a certain defender. They dropped out there. They overloaded one side, so someone's coming free. You have hot receivers, so Eli Manning did the right thing. It's just the Ravens had a good call.
Darius Webb is going to let this one bounce inside the 15, and it'll be downed at the 15-yard line. And we have a penalty marker and an injured Giant at midfield. And that is the long snapper, Zach Diassi.
During the kick, holding, number 91, return team. 10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
So we'll take a timeout. Zach Diassi limps off the field. The penalty was on Matthew Judon. Hey, tomorrow it's a night full of laughs, starting with the all-new episodes of TV's #1 comedy, The Big Bang Theory, followed by TV's #1 new comedy, Kevin Can Wait. And then don't miss a new Two Broke Girls in the season premiere of The Odd Couple, only CBS. A minute 42 to play here in the first period that has been all Baltimore. And Eli Manning still trying to figure out where some offense is going to come from for the New York Giants. Terrence West in the backfield behind Flacco. West with the football. Tries the left side, gets a little bit of an opening and pops it out to about the 15-yard line, brought down by Jonathan Casillas.
And Greg, for a team that likes to use a lot of two tight end formations, you would think inside your own 10-yard line, this would be the perfect time to do it. What they do, they come out 3 wide receivers, they spread the defense out, and yet run the ball. So you're catching the Giants in a spread out defense, and they were able to take advantage on that left side.
That is linebacker Mark Herzlich, who appears to be the backup long snapper for the Giants. Warming up, at least he is today. On 2nd and 4, Flacco goes down at about the 10-yard line. The Giant defense finally breaking through, led by Jonathan Hankins.
Well, and if you're a Ravens fan, anytime you see people falling around the legs of Joe Flacco after last year tearing his ACL in Week 11 and be able to make the comeback that he's been able to make so far this year, he does have a brace on that left knee. Much needed sack for the Giants.
And they're getting a look at Hankins. Who was on one knee at about the 16 or 17-yard line. That is only the 5th sack of the season for the New York Giants, who are dead last in that category in the NFL. Robert Thomas onto the field to replace Hankins as he's looked at on the sideline. Meanwhile, the Ravens, with 34 seconds to play here in the first quarter, looking at a 3rd and 7. Flacco out to the outside, Juszczyk, and Juszczyk brought down short of the first down, and that'll force the punting unit. Dominique Rodgers, Cromartie, and Leon Hall combining to stop him.
Well, and Steve Spagnuolo that time deciding to change things up. They brought pressure with secondary, with linebackers. That time they had 7 guys on the line of scrimmage, only rushed 4, dropped back into coverage and made the tackle.
On the first quarter.
A first quarter to forget for the New York Giants. It's been all Baltimore so far. 10-0 lead. This is the NFL on CBS. Welcome back as we start the second quarter. The Ravens with a 10-0 lead, and Sam Cook ready to kick it away to Dwayne Harris. Penalty marker flies. And this will chase Harris back almost to his own 25, dodges the first man, and is brought down at about the 35. And now let's check the flag.
Offside. Defense, number 89. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
So that is a huge mistake for the New York Giants. Let's go down to Jamie.
Greg, thanks. Zach Diossi spent about 5 minutes on the table there, got that left ankle fully taped up, put his helmet back on. He just tried to get down in the stance. 1 snap off. He looks to be in a lot of pain, but he's walking around as if he's fine to go.
All right, Jamie, thank you. Zach Diossi has been the long snapper for this franchise for 10 seasons now.
Yeah, and one of the things overlooked from a long snapper standpoint is, yeah, you have to be good at what you're doing, but from a punt coverage standpoint, a lot of those guys, you really need to get down the field. So if he is hobbled, that would be a big factor moving forward.
And that's one less tackler on punt coverage.
Well, and you may want to just use him for field goals where he doesn't have to run downfield, and just use Herzlich if you feel comfortable with that as your punt long snapper.
Meanwhile, the offsides gives Baltimore first down at their own 21. Play fake, Flacco lobs it over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Crockett Gilmore. Time for an update from the NFL today in New York, JB.
Kaepernick hasn't done this in a while.
Yeah, Colin Kaepernick's first touchdown pass of the year since Week 6 of last year to Torrey Smith, 53 yards as they take a 10-7 lead up in Buffalo.
Back to Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, and Jamie Erdahl.
All right, JB and Coach, thank you much. 2nd and 10. And on the ground with Terrence West this time, who breaks free up the middle. Terrence West to midfield. And down at the 45 of the Giants. Janoris Jenkins brought him down, but not before he picked up 34 yards on the play.
It's just a run to the left. He's going to create and get into the backfield. Watch the job of the offensive line. We talked about all the changes up front, but most of their consistent play, most of their consistent big runs have been behind Urschel and Zuda to that left side. That time West just getting through into the secondary.
Dixon. Inside the 40 to the 39, and that's Jason Pierre-Paul on the tackle. You know, John Harbaugh has been pretty staunch all week, and he reiterated in our meeting with him last night. Everyone was pressuring him and wanted, who's going to play, and he said, I don't know until Sunday who's going to be able to play, but whoever can play, they'll be out there, and that's who I'll be coaching.
Well, and when they brought us all the lineup changes, and 4 of the 5 offensive linemen were different, they moved around, then we knew he was telling us the truth because we really didn't know.
This is Dixon. Nice little cutback to the 35.
No, I'm not implying that they don't always tell us the truth, though. Oh. Right, Greg?
Couldn't possibly have been your
right. There's definitely a certain level of secrecy that goes on, but when you look at those guys up front, it's everybody but Zuda is in a different spot.
Well, John Harbaugh did say they were intent on running the football well today. 66 rushing yards so far. First down from the 35. Flacco, the pitch for West. And West lunges forward to maybe the 34 for a gain of a yard, brought down by Olivier Vernon.
We talked about in the open and at the beginning throughout this game, the yards per pass attempt, one of the lowest in the National Football League, second lowest, and today already over 7 yards per pass attempt. Just a short period of time with Marty Morningwig as offensive coordinator.
And if you want to stretch the field, if you're Baltimore, Mike Wallace is a pretty good candidate to do that. Straight drop. Flacco has time to look around and then drops it off over the middle as a penalty marker flies in the backfield. This is West again, and West to within 2 yards of a first down, but we have another flag.
Prior to pass, holding, number 80, offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
That's on the tight end, Gilmore.
Gilmore, I believe, is matched up on Olivier Vernon.
Boy, Baltimore stacking up the penalties, 5 of them for 40 yards already.
2nd and 19.
But they've survived it pretty well thanks to offensive possession and thanks to a big turnover by the Giants.
Yeah, great field position. They're getting some third downs. And
Flacco, short pass, near side. This is Pitta. Tried to spin out of trouble, but he will go down at about the 47-yard line.
Well, Olivier Vernon is the one that has to get credit. I know he doesn't come up with the tackle. He misses the tackle. But by him reading that screen, by him having the ability to realize it was going to be a screen, and he drifts to the outside, he goes to make the tackle, misses it. But what that does is it allows the rest of the defenders to pursue and get to him. So here he goes over the top, misses the tackle. That's fine, because it gives the rest of your defense time to react and come up and make that tackle and force this third and long.
3rd and 22. And when you look at those third down conversions, Baltimore 3 out of 6. They haven't had to deal with the 3rd and 22 yet.
Well, really all you're trying to do if you're Joe Flacco is get about 10 yards, maybe 8 to 10 yards, and put Tucker in range.
Penalty marker and
That's going to be
delay of game.
Delay of game, offense. 5-yard penalty, it's still third down.
All right, Greg, I changed that. Now it's 13 to 15 yards. You want to try to get, you don't want to, obviously you'll take all 27, but if you can get this, you've got one of the best kickers in the National Football League in Tucker. So if you can get good 13, 15 yards here, put him in position.
middle incomplete. Dominique Rogers-Cromartie defending against Kamar Aiken. And that'll bring the punter, Sam Cook, out.
Aiken lined up in that left slot again. He's been there a couple times already today. He did the route earlier where he came in and went back out and was able to beat Cromartie on that route. This time just running over the middle, trying to sit down. You see the direction of where that pass is, trying to throw it away from Cromartie. Just not close enough to bring it in.
Dwayne Harris back at his own 10-yard line. Cook trying to drop it in. Instead, the fair catch is made by Dwayne Harris, and that is going to start the Giants at about their own 7-yard line. Welcome back as the Giants get set to start deep in the hole again. Their starting position's been no great shakes, Trent.
And they haven't been able, as you can see from the possessions, 2 3 and outs, and of course the fumble on the first play of the game. So it's important for them to change field position.
The former Baltimore Raven, Bobby Rainey, takes the handoff and pushes it out across the 10 to the 11-yard line.
And what I mean by change field position, Greg, is you obviously want to get points on every drive, but the fact that they've been pinned down inside their own 25, inside their own 20 so many times, you need to get some first downs. You need to get things moving and flip the field on the Ravens a little bit.
Heavy, go gun. Heavy.
Manning on 2nd and 6. Steps up, throws over the middle, and that's complete to Rainey out of the backfield, and Rainey has a first down at about the 18-yard line and gets the cheer from the crowd.
Oh, what a crowd, huh? The response of crossing the first down.
Oh, the
first down marker.
It was the first down of the day. Never does that for you, right? Manning in and out of the hands of Victor Cruz.
Well, that's what happens when you're struggling as an offense. Sometimes you try and do too much. We saw it on the first play of the game with Odell Beckham Jr. after the catch, trying to spin and do too much. The fumble ended up happening that time. Victor Cruz trying to take off and run before he secures the catch, and he ultimately drops it.
Jeff Triplett says, okay, let's go. Rainey in the backfield again. Rainey spent 2012, 2013 with the Ravens.
Go 50, 50, 5 on 118.
And Manning for Rainey. And Rainey up the sideline and out of bounds across the 25. Let's see where he is marked out at about the 27, so a yard short of a first down.
Well, Eli having some struggles throwing the ball up the field. You look at the last 3 games, all of those losses, he's 2 for 13 for 49 yards on throws over 20 yards. So it continues today, the struggle throwing the ball up the field. And that last throw, had to throw underneath because of the pressure. Just get it out of your hands.
What?
3rd and short yardage. Let's see if they look to Rainey to get it on the ground. They do. And he may not. That's a yard short.
Well, you can see the respect that Dean Pease, the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, has for Eli Manning. After talking to him this week, he said, listen, Eli is a proven veteran quarterback. He understands what defenses are doing, and if I don't continually change, give him a different look to deal with, he's just going to get to a rhythm. We don't want him to get into a rhythm. We want to keep him guessing and keep him moving and keep him changing the plays like he's had to do so far this entire game.
Zach Diassi is back on the field and snapping for this punt. And Ladarius Webb sees this and sail out of bounds. 8:09 to play. First half, 10-0 Baltimore.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Chili's 3 for Me deal. Chillin' since '75. And by Nissan. Innovation that excites.
If you're wondering where Trent's headed after the game, that is a pick-your-own pumpkin patch over at Demarest Farms in nearby Hillsdale, New Jersey.
I'm A-okay with that.
Yeah, make sure you grab one that fits in the overhead, by the way.
That's right.
The Ravens at their own 26-yard line.
Dodge. 180. Dodge.
They'll start it off with West on the ground, and West, they have lost a yard. It'll be 2nd and 11. A reminder coming up, the Verizon halftime report with JB and the guys back in New York for all the latest NFL scores and highlights, as well as a preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and the NFL Network, all coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Did Mr. Barkley have a good time earlier today in the pregame?
I'm sure he did.
I've never seen him have a bad time.
Exactly.
30-second offensive play. Flacco going to go deep down the middle of the field and overthrowing everybody. Although the diving attempt at the interception made by Janoris Jenkins.
Well, Joe Flacco under tremendous pressure there. He just continued to backpedal, and we talked about at the top his big arm and throwing the ball down the field. That time with Kamar Aiken, one-on-one with Jenkins down the middle of the field. He just tried throwing as high and as far as he could.
I believe he just launched that about 60 yards while backpedaling.
That's right.
So 3rd and 11. And we get a whistle and a timeout.
Timeout. Giants. They're first.
So they use their first timeout here in the first half. 7:25 to play. As we welcome you back, we remind you tonight on CBS, NCIS Los Angeles faces off against an assassin. Don't miss an action-packed new episode tonight after 60 minutes only. CBS. The third down story for the Ravens, who converted 3 of their first 4 third down opportunities and gone 0 for 3 since. And now on 3rd and 11. Flacco throwing and underthrows and off the mark. Intended for Mike Wallace.
That's at least 4 or 5 times today that we've seen the Giants bring pressure with their secondary. That time bringing both Leon Hall and Rogers Cromartie off the edges. That long and down in distance, the Ravens trying to push it up the field, not able to because of the pressure.
And Harris pulls this one in just short of the 15-yard line and escapes a tackler. Escapes 2 more before he dives forward to about the 19. They're going to mark him down at the 20. So now, onto the field. Eli in the offense. We go down to Jamie.
Greg, thanks. So much has been made about Odell Beckham Jr.'s behavior on the field, but when we met with the team on Friday, Eli Manning put it pretty simply. He's not a distraction. Odell Beckham said, he tries to never regret anything because in that moment, that's something you wanted to do. Now, we have this video of him interacting with the net on the sideline. I'm going to go ahead and say maybe he regretted kicking it since he gave it such affection the second time around, but he said he's going to remain himself and he's not going to take the claws off the cat, as he likes to say.
Jamie, thank you. Beckham with the catch here and bumped out of bounds at the 25-yard line. In conversations with Odell and with Coach McAdoo and with Eli Manning, they just want him to get back to having fun, and he said he wants to do the same thing.
Well, he loves football. He has a passion for football, and he doesn't want to take that passion away.
Now, has he overdone it on occasion? Absolutely he has. Manning going to go deep. Beckham, incomplete, knocked away by Jimmy Smith.
And as soon as Terrell Suggs jumped off sides, Eli Manning knew he was going to take a shot down the field.
And Beckham still on his back inside the 30-yard line.
Defense, number 55. 5-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
Not to speculate too much, but you almost got to think this is him just getting the wind knocked out of him the way he landed.
Correction. The penalty will result in a 1st down.
He did hit hard And by the way, it looked like Beckham had to slow down a little bit for a pass that might have been underthrown a bit.
Well, the good thing about that replay is it shows his head doesn't bounce off the turf, that it's he lands on his left side. So hopefully for him, it's just getting the wind knocked out.
We'll take a break with 6:40 to play in the half.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FedEx, helping small businesses simplify e-commerce. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
While we wait for official word, Odell Beckham on the sideline and being talked to and looked at. On first down from the 31-yard line.
Hey, go heavy, 26, heavy 26. 118. All right, set.
Here comes the blitz. Manning got rid of it over the middle, and that's complete, and out to the 39-yard line is Larry Donnell. And here comes ODJ. Who wants to know what the play is?
Well, and our mics can pick up a lot of what Eli's doing at the line of scrimmage and how they're changing protections and moving guys around.
This is Rashad Jennings, and that's virtually no gain. It'll be third down. Zach Orr making the stop, and Beckham heads for the sideline again.
He's going out, and it looks like Gerard Powers for the Ravens is slow to get off the field as well.
Boy, and both these teams pretty dinged up coming in today. And Beckham's going straight to the locker room. We'll keep track of him as we look at a 3rd and 1 now for the Giants. We're trying to get something done before halftime, but again, Trent, we talked about it at the beginning of the day, that offense just has not looked in sync.
There hasn't been a lot of rhythm offensively. They didn't get their first down until halfway through the second quarter, so trying to get something going, not going to help with Odell Beckham Jr. now out of the game.
They have 2 first downs on the day. Manning, sideline, and that is grabbed by Victor Cruz for a first down.
Well, when you talk about somebody that's had to deal with injuries over the last couple seasons, and with Beckham Jr. now out of the game, Victor Cruz is going to have to step up even more.
That's the first catch in 2 weeks for Victor Cruz. Manning out to the near side, and that's Jennings out of the backfield to about the 45-yard line. Jimmy Smith coming up from the secondary to make the stop. And we get a timeout called on the field. Stop the play just to spot the ball.
Jimmy Smith got banged up on that last play.
Right. Yep. Will Davis is in to replace him on 2nd and 9. Manning. And finds the tight end Will Tye over the middle, and he gets a first down at the Baltimore 45.
Oh, and so much has been made about the wide receivers, and rightfully so for the Giants, but Will Tye in his own right coming into today, 14 catches for 120 yards. He's a good presence in the middle of the field for Eli.
And Manning back to the hurry up, and this is Jennings, and Jennings to about the 40. Clock continues to move, 4:15 to play here in the first half. And the Giants trying to make some sort of a statement before they go to the locker room.
Well, Greg, this is the first time we've seen any semblance of rhythm for the Giants offensively.
118. All right, set.
Quick pass again, and this one behind Sterling Shepard, the rookie out of Oklahoma.
Well, watch McClellan, 50 there. If he ends up leading that's just not being on the same page with Shepard. Shepard, he gears that down a little bit and sits in that hole. That's Eli trying to protect his receiver instead of leading him into an explosive collision.
Jimmy Smith back onto the field at cornerback for Baltimore. 85 yards for a first down. Manning lofts it down the sideline. incomplete. Roger Lewis Jr. was the intended receiver. And the Giants going to go for it here on 4th down. The word on Odell Beckham Jr. has suffered a hip pointer, and his return is questionable at this point.
Well, Greg, I think this is the right call. The way things have been going for the Giants offensively today, going for it at this point in time is the right call.
Manning, this side of the field, and the catch is made. The 30-yard line by Victor Cruz for the first down. And an unnecessary pointing down the field. There are officials to do that.
Well, I think he's just happy because they finally got another first down. So it's he's excited a little bit about that too. But that's the second time on this drive now. They've done a quick throw, quick timing route from Eli Manning to Victor Cruz on the outside.
From the 30, Manning. Manning going to go for it all down the sideline. It is incomplete. Cruz, the intended receiver, covered by Smith.
Well, and you can hear and see the Giants fans going crazy looking for that illegal bump after 5 yards because Jimmy Smith and Victor Cruz were throwing elbows all the way down the sideline.
Second and 10. This is Rainey, and Rainey dipping back and forth, and some pushing and shoving after the play. 50 is Albert McClellan, and he was going at it with Bobby Hart. The York Giants finally finding that rhythm they've been looking for, as you mentioned earlier.
What a nice run by Bobby Rainey on that last play, showing good footwork and patience, waiting for his blockers, bouncing into the right hole, and then obviously dragging the defender there for an extra couple yards.
3rd and 4. Manning, corner, has the man open, touchdown! Roger Lewis Jr. His first NFL touchdown.
Well, the undrafted free agent out of Bowling Green getting an opportunity. You see, he just lined up. He's going to run a corner route. Eli Manning has to slide in the pocket a little bit to buy some time. Had him crisscross there as a receiver as he was the slot receiver going to the corner. Eli, understanding he had man-to-man coverage, and took advantage of it.
Career touchdown pass number 300 for Eli Manning. And he ties John Elway for number 8 all time. Pretty good company.
Yeah, there's only 8 quarterbacks, as you said, that have had 300 or more touchdown passes, so quite a milestone.
The kick is good, and 2:28 to play in the first half, and the Giants pull to within 3 at 10-7.
Well, and Greg, as completely lopsided as this game has been, from a yardage standpoint, a time of possession standpoint, third down, conversions, everything, here we are a couple minutes before halftime, and it's a 3-point game. So
we talk about the company that Eli is in. How about his brother Peyton and Brett Favre and Drew Brees and Tom Brady? Dan Marino is on that list.
Very select company, as we talked about there. Phillip Rivers, I'm sure, will be joining that club here this season. Next few weeks.
We'll get a call from Denver. John Elway says, hey, if we're both at 300, we're both at number 7. Once upon a time, Eli Manning and Phillip Rivers crossed paths on draft day. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers, how close they are.
Yeah, that was a pretty dramatic draft day for both of those teams, and great production out of both quarterbacks.
Chris Moore will not run it out of the end zone, and so Baltimore will start at its own 25-yard line.
And of course, the whole what-if thing that goes on is If Eli ends up in San Diego, what happens with his career? If Phillip Rivers ends up in New York, what happens with his career in terms of championships and Super Bowls and those kinds of things? Because as we can see, both of them have very similar numbers.
Phillip Rivers has not had the chance to play in the big game the way Eli has. Still a heck of a quarterback. 2:28 to play. Flacco, right over the middle. What a pass and what a grab by Dennis Pitta. Flacco showing off that arm.
Well, and they've really been pushing the ball up the field. We talk about it coming into the game is, okay, how much more will Marty Morningway call plays to push the ball up the field? But they're still very effective in those underneath throws, that time right on target with Pitta.
This is Terrence West, and West up the middle, across the 40 to the 41, and that'll bring us to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play.
This is the 2-minute warning.
In the first half. Baltimore 10, the Giants 7. This is the NFL on CBS. Justin Tucker getting set just in case he's needed. 2 minutes until halftime, and Flacco sets up the screen. West, and West to midfield, into New York territory and down to the 47. Landon Collins made the tackle.
Well, very timely call there on the screenplay. You have 3 receivers out to the left. You clear out that side of the field. You get everybody thinking that's the way you're going to go, and drop back with your eyes left. You draw the defense that way, and then jump off the screen. Very timely call.
Flacco, incomplete. Covered by Jenkins, intended for Perriman.
Well, and that's one that Flacco's going to kick himself a little bit on as we take a look at the first 5 possessions. Ravens jumping on the board with that field goal to start things off. Took advantage of the turnover by the Giants to get the touchdown. 3 punts after that, but the Giants coming with pressure that time and leaving Juszczyk free coming out of the backfield. Flacco just not having the time to find him, having to get the ball out of his hands.
2nd and 10. Flacco with time now, throwing downfield, incomplete. Perriman tried to make the adjustment, tripped and fell. You know, we were talking during that last break. Now we have a player down on the ground at about the 47.
See, Perriman has Jenkins beat going down that right sideline, but the ball just behind him, not able to make the adjustment soon enough. Looks like Keenan Robinson,
the 5th-year linebacker, and he will hop off the field. So that costs the Giants a timeout, and they have 1 remaining. Baltimore with all 3 of theirs to use here in the last 122.
See a big pileup right in the middle.
Oh, he got rolled up on.
Looked like JPP was the one that was kind of fell into the back of his legs. That happens so often in the middle of that line, whether you're an offensive lineman, someone coming in the back there, a defensive lineman. But big 3rd down here for both teams.
The Ravens 0 for their last 4 on 3rd down attempts. Under pressure, he goes down. That was Landon Collins.
Well, for a team that coming into today only had 4 sacks, you'll see Collins coming from the secondary. Team that only had 4 sacks coming into today that's the 2nd sack and a timely one at that, Greg.
And the Giants get around to stopping the clock with their 3rd and final timeout. It's been something that's missing from the Giants' arsenal, and that's getting after the quarterback.
Well, and you take some risk when you're bringing the secondary defenders. That's at least a half dozen times where we've seen a nickelback, a safety, a corner. You're taking some risk doing that, but they've been effective with it, getting pressure and either getting the sack or causing Joe Flacco to get rid of the ball sooner than he wanted to.
2 of them today. And Odell Beckham Jr. back from the locker room for the last minute and 9. As we remind you, the Verizon halftime report coming your way shortly with JB and the guys back in New York. Scores, highlights, and a preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and the NFL Network coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Dwayne Harris back at his own 10.
Well, Greg, I'm a little surprised to see Odell Beckham Jr. come out. Knowing you're a minute from halftime, I thought he would stay in there and trying to get whatever treatment he wanted, but obviously wants to come out and try and contribute on this this final drive.
Short punt is grabbed by Harris and falls forward to about the 22 or 23-yard line.
And he is running on the field coming in the game.
So this was Eli, and the no-huddle seemed to work well for the Giants when they finally went to it.
Well, and utilizing the tight end across the middle and Cruz a couple times on the outside, and then, of course, Roger Lewis Jr., the rookie, getting his first career touchdown.
So the line of scrimmage now the 23-yard line, and there are no
illegal block in the back on the kicking team. Number 46. The 10-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the play. First down.
You know, that call is on Morgan Cox, the long snapper, and I don't know that we've talked about long snappers so much in one game.
Well, and I don't know if I've ever heard of a block in the back for a team that's covering the punt. Why is he blocking someone in the back? That's what you look at the sideline of the Ravens. They got their arms up in the air. Like, what do you mean a block in the back by the coverage team? You can see
John Harbaugh showing some measure of
Jerry Rossberg.
There is no injury timeout since we had a change of possession on the play. First down, New York Giants.
So here are the Giants at their own 33, no timeouts remaining.
The foul was on number 42.
You just like talking about the long snapper.
Well, yeah, our Queston Huff
exactly.
was the guilty party.
That's right.
It's just nice to talk about those guys for every once in a while.
Well, that penalty's big though. That's a huge chunky yardage for the Giants.
No timeouts available to Eli Manning. They're going to give it to Paul Perkins. And Perkins out to about the 39-yard line, and that'll tell you pretty much how they're going to work the rest of this first half, unless let's see what Manning's got here.
Well, and they've got no timeouts left, as you said, Greg, and it's you can work all the underneath stuff you want.
That completion to Perkins gets the first down. Clock continues to move. 35 seconds.
Well, and Josh Brown on the year only has one attempt over 50 yards, and it was no good from 53 yards.
This one over the middle to Perkins. Perkins needs to get to the sideline. He's not going to get there.
They want to spike it. They can. It looks like Eli's going to continue to run plays.
15 seconds. And Manning, sideline. Grab! Did he come down? He did not come down inbounds. It's incomplete.
Well, and now you may be kicking yourself for not spiking the ball, because you have to get a ball. If you complete the ball, it has to get out of bounds. You don't have enough time otherwise if you want to try and set up a field goal.
So you're either looking at the sideline or you're looking to get it all.
Sideline or nothing.
And timeout is called by Baltimore to talk about it.
Baltimore. Their first is a 30-second timeout.
You know, this game feels like it's been dominated by Baltimore.
It has that feel just because of the way it started off and the struggles that the Giants had offensively, but here we are, 8 seconds to go, and the Giants are only down 3.
This is the pass to Odell Beckham Jr. Tried to toe tap on the sideline. You know, that's pretty close.
I think he actually got that second foot in. About the first one landed on the line, but the second one, it's a pretty remarkable not catch.
Yeah. Hold on. We gotta go right here.
8 seconds, no timeouts.
What's going on here? 118.
Manning, sideline. And that appears to be intercepted by Baltimore. Will Davis. And they'll talk about it on the far side of the field at the 30-yard line. Either way, that ends the first half. It is an interception.
On the field for an interception as the end of the first half.
So Will Davis makes the pick, and that brings us to the end of a first half that saw the Ravens dominate early, and the Giants came back to make it a 3-point game. We are at the end of the first with the score. Baltimore 10, the New York Giants 7. We're back with the Verizon Halftime Report after this message and a word from your local station. You are watching the NFL on CBS. Welcome back to MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands, where the Ravens lead the New York Giants by a score of 10-7. Let's take a look at Who Are You Lovin', presented by McDonald's. And it's a key play in the first half with Odell Beckham Jr. fumbling and recovered by Zach Orr. It led to the only touchdown for the Baltimore Ravens. Greg Gumbel and Trent Green back with you as we get set for the start of the second half. The defensive units, Baltimore comes in here highly touted and highly ranked in defense. The Giants not, but the Giants ought to be congratulated for the way they did. It was thanks to that fumble that Baltimore got their touchdown.
When you have to give Steve Spagnuolo's unit on that defensive side for the Giants, the way they responded, yes, they got the touchdown, did the Ravens after that fumble, but from that point forward, they've been very effective. They've been putting pressure on the quarterback. They got 2 sacks. They've been able to stop that running game. There have been some chunks that they've been able to get, but overall, from the middle of that first quarter on, that defense has played well.
As you take a look at some first half stats, how do you feel the Marty Mornhinweg changeover has affected the offense?
Well, it started off fast. They were able to get some things going early, got those 10 points in their first 2 possessions, but from that point on, it stalled a little bit. We've really had it's almost 2 games in one half if you look at how things started off for Baltimore early on, and then the way that the Giants were able to hang in there, keep it close, and then ultimately got that touchdown drive to make it a 3-point game.
So the Giants, who did not play exceptionally well, particularly on offense in the first half, get their hands on the football first here in the second. And that kick will go out of the end zone for the touchback. They'll start at the 25. We go down to Jamie.
Greg, thanks. I just caught up with head coach Ben McAdoo coming out of the half. He said the biggest difference on offense, they anticipated containing that Ravens offense, taking longer shots down the field, and he thinks that will continue to happen in the second half. A couple injuries to note on both sides for the Giants. Odell Beckham Jr. made sure he came up and got warmed up from that hip. Defensively, though, you got linebacker Keenan Robinson with the knee and safety Trevin Wade with an ankle. We got to see if they're going to hit the field, and for the Ravens, Jimmy Smith out with a concussion. Greg.
All right, Jamie, that is a big deal. Jimmy Smith, reliable cornerback in his 6th season out of Colorado. They'll start on the ground with Rashad Jenkins, and Jenkins for about 3 out to the 28-yard line.
Well, you're right, Greg, with Jimmy Smith out of the game. He's had an impact in several plays in the first half. If you think of some of the throws going down the sidelines, he was in position, some of the tackles he's come up and made. So that will be a big loss to keep track of here in the second half.
Will Davis, who made the first half interception to end the first half, has replaced him at corner. Manning throws to the near side. That is complete to Sterling Shepard, the rookie, and he is out of bounds and up for a first down.
Well, this is a cross route. Shepard's on the inside, a slot route, just working to the outside. Just a flat route, and you have a slant on the outside. So it's one of those things where the defender ends up getting rubbed off. And Manning recognizes it.
Tip off the fingertips of number 84, Larry Donnell. You know, we saw Shepard there on the outside, and John Harbaugh says we kind of look for him in the middle of the field.
Yeah, that's where he's caught most of his balls. This one Donnell's got to come up with. Of course, the pass could be a little bit lower, but it hits him in the hands. As a quarterback, you sit there and hold your breath after a tip ball like that doesn't end up intercepted.
Quick slant is off the mark. Intended for Shepard, and we get the flag.
Well, he just got done talking about Shepard in the middle of the field, and sure enough, they come right back to it, a slant from the slot position.
Pass interference, defense, number 36. Restricting the receiver, grabbing him and restricting while the ball is in the air. Ball will be placed in front of the foul, first down.
That is the rookie Tavon Young.
That's an easy one to call. you can see from this angle that the body and the arm extend and pull the jersey back. Couldn't see the jersey, but you could see the reaction. He had no choice but to call that.
You know, it would seem, Trent, that the Giants have found something here with no huddle and just coming up to the line.
You know, they really got things going in the first half when they made some adjustments with that, trying to change the rhythm up.
Beckham up the sideline. That's a pretty good little explosion after the catch.
Well, just a little two-step route, quick look route, and that's why you get the ball in. You have certain playmakers that you get the ball in their hands as quickly as you possibly can and let them do their job.
Manning, far side again, and that is complete. And once again, Odell Beckham Jr., who was talking about he just wants to concentrate on playing football, which is a good thing.
Well, and there's so many other distractions going on, and rightfully so. He's brought a lot of it on himself, but he has such a passion for the game. It's pretty evident when you meet him.
Manning for Shepard, and hit by Sharice Wright. And Shepard comes up limping just a bit.
Well, in the previous two plays, they'd been attacking the other side with Will Davis.
He stays on the field. However, he looks to be in some pain in the slot. On the blitz, they give this to Jennings, and Jennings not much there as he's wrestled down at about the 37-yard line. Now Shepard is saying, no, I'm okay, I want to stay in.
Well, it's interesting, Greg, on that play, Odell Beckham Jr. was lined up to the far right for Eli Manning, and he had Will Davis on him, and he was in off coverage about 10 yards, and before the snap, Beckham Jr. was waving his arms at Eli, trying to get the attention to try and switch the play up.
And here are the Giants now on 4th and 3, and Manning on the slant, complete inside the 30 to Shepard for the first down.
Shepard one-on-one with Tavon Young against the rookie. We just got through talking about John Harbaugh mentioning it to us that Sterling Shepard likes to use that middle of the field, and now they've gone to him a couple times on this drive.
And hurry up works really good for the New York Giants now. Manning. And once again to the tight end, Donnell, who was a big target at 6'6", 265.
And that's one you have to bring in. You know you're going to take a hit when you see roll coverage. It's safety help over the top. You got to recognize that as a receiver. Eli obviously recognized it, put the ball on his body, and allowed him to protect himself.
Remember when Baltimore had the 9-1 advantage on first down? 12-11 now. The Giants have had one more first down.
Seems like a completely different game ago. If you think about how the first quarter went, you and I were both sitting here saying, okay, can they get a first down? Can the Giants get something going? And now all of a sudden here, they've been moving the ball very effectively.
3rd and 2, Manning throws this side, and that's complete. Fighting for the goal line, he reached the 2. That's Victor Cruz. It'll be 1st and goal.
We've been very critical of the Giants and their pass protection, how Eli Manning has been under heat. Not only this game, but in previous games. This time they gave him great protection. He slid and went through 3 different progressions before finding Cruz.
The fake to Rainey. Throwing to the end zone. Incomplete. Flags all over the place.
Well, they're going to get McClellan. He basically clotheslined Victor Cruz trying to get out into the flat.
Jeff Triplett getting the decisions.
Victor Cruz working from behind the line of scrimmage after the play fake, trying to get out into the flat.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding, defense. That penalty is declined. Pass interference, number 31 in the end zone. That penalty is accepted. The ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. First down.
Will Davis guilty of the end zone flag.
There's McClellan right here, and you're going to get Victor Cruz working behind, trying to get to the outside. Now that's going to be the holding call. The Pass interference will be up here at the top at the end of the play, but watch Cruz get clotheslined as McClellan gets to the outside, and then at the end of the play is where the pass interference came in.
First and goal for the Giants at the 1. Rashad Jennings behind Manning.
Hey, Don! Eric, give me 5! 118! Where's that?
Jennings, and they'll lose yardage. That Baltimore defense converged, led by Terrell Suggs.
Well, Michael Pierce in the middle of that line, the rookie just getting penetration. That allows and frees up everybody, the linebackers. Talk to Dean Pease about what the Ravens like to do, and it all starts with those big bodies up front. Allows their linebackers to make plays. Sorry about that, Greg.
13th play of this drive. Second and goal now from the 3.
You got Beckham against Weddle right here in the slot.
Manning looks left, pulls it down, now throws, and threw it away. And that was Beckham with Weddle right on him.
Well, Weddle tried playing to the outside. He looked like he had help on the inside from the linebacker. Trying to play a little bracket coverage on it. Beckham Jr. still able to get across Weddle's face, get to the corner.
So now Beckham moves to the top of your screen, far outside. Jennings in the backfield, third and goal from the 3.
You got one-on-one up here. As you said, Beckham Jr. up top.
118! That's it!
Manning, whip time, throws back this way, incomplete. Intended for Roger Lewis Jr., defended by Sharice Wright, and it'll be 4th and goal.
Eli's eyes started off looking in Beckham Jr.'s direction, and then he comes back across the field.
Well, that looks like a definite shove before the football got there.
Roger Lewis Jr. looking for the flag, and after seeing that replay, he has a very real argument.
Josh Brown. From 21 yards out, and we have a tie game. Impressive opening drive by the New York Giants comes up short of a touchdown, but puts 3 on the board. 9:48 to play in the 3rd. Worth mentioning again, opening drive was impressive for the Giants. 15 plays, 72 yards. Ended up short of what they wanted, but we're tied at 10.
Well, the impressive thing is just some of the adjustments they've made. You think about how this game started off for the Giants and completely flipped around for them. They've been very productive.
Chris Moore will not run this one out of the end zone. The touchback will start at the 25-yard line. 9:48 to play in the 3rd. We're all even at 10.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Inferno, in theaters October 28th. And by Toyota. Let's go places.
.9:48 to play here in the 3rd. The last time the Ravens had an offensive snap was at that's 35 minutes ago. Holy smokes. Joe Flacco, look at those numbers there. Started 8 of 10 throwing the ball, and he has a completion here to Terrence West out of the backfield. Breaking tackle. And out close to the 35-yard line. He'll be about a half a yard or a yard shy of a first down.
On Jeremy Zuda, looks like he's going to have to come out of the game. He lost his shoe. That's not the position concern. He was the only starter that they had in the regular spot to start this game off.
Looks like his foot is cramping a little bit. Now, how about that number?
Baltimore.
Yeah, you got to call a timeout if you want him to stay in the game. Otherwise,
I'm not sure they can afford any more losses on the offensive line. War of attrition continues on the offensive line with Baltimore. Jeremy Zuda came out of the lineup. John Urschel has moved to center on that snap, and Terrence West gets stopped by Landon Collins. And here comes Zuda back onto the field as we get a little shoving at about the 35-yard line. That's Jason Pierre-Paul.
Well, before we went to commercial, they said that it was a timeout because it was an injury and Zuda left for a play. The Ravens got their timeout back, so that's important to remove moving forward. Zuda came out for that one play. The timeout returned to the Ravens.
And he is now back onto the field. Third and short yardage. West. And he spins for the first down across the 35.
Well, give West the credit to get that first down. There were two defenders. He did that spin move right at the line of scrimmage.
So first down at the 37-yard line now for the Ravens, who are trying to get a little lost momentum back.
Yeah, you look at that stat. How about that graphic? The Giants didn't get a first down until halfway through the second quarter. Piling up 14 since then.
Flacco on the slant, incomplete. Broken up by Janoris Jenkins, intended for Perriman. Gives us an opportunity to remind you with NFL Game Pass, replay the games you missed with condensed games in 45 minutes or the full broadcast versions. Get the new midseason offer today at NFL.com/Game Pass. Flacco getting outside. Penalty markers thrown in the backfield as he runs for a first down. I'm guessing a hold on the Ravens as Flacco was able to get to the outside.
Well, and you forget how
Holding.
as we hear the penalty
Number
here.
72 offense. 10-yard penalty and repeat second down.
That's Alex Lewis, the rookie left tackle.
You're right here at the top of the screen. See the inside move there by Pierre-Paul. Gets a hold of him underneath the shoulder pads.
And doesn't let go.
But you forget about the mobility Joe Flacco has, especially when you consider he had the torn ACL at the end of last season and showed a little burst of speed that time.
And we get a whistle and a flag and a false start.
False start. Number 72 offense. 5-yard penalty. It's still second down.
Alex Lewis has not had a good 30, 40 seconds.
He moved real quick once again. Offensive linemen getting attention in back-to-back plays generally means it's not a good thing.
Baltimore now 12 penalties worth 81 yards. Second and 25. Quick pass. Dixon spun to the ground by Landon Collins, who has played a heck of a game in the secondary for the New York Giants.
He's been all over the field, sideline to sideline. This time, Flacco trying to get the ball out of his hands quick, get it out to the flat. But Collins comes up with the secure tackle, forcing a third and very long.
Landon Collins in his second season out of Alabama. And Flacco looking at a monster third and 24. Play clock down to 3, down to 2. They get the snap away. Flacco throws. It is complete. And that'll be short of a first down as Kamar Aiken pulls it in and moves to the 40.
Well, the Ravens, after starting off the game 3 for 4 on third down conversions, now only 1 of 7. Doesn't help when you got the third 24, but
Dwayne Harris is deep. He will make the catch at his 5. And tripped up and fall from behind. Making the stop is Mark Weston Huff. Good special teams tackle. 5:51 to play in a tie game in the third.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Welcome back, everyone. On Monday, the place to be was the American Visionary Museum in Baltimore. Steve Smith Sr. and 29 of his teammates, including Eric Weddle, put on a fashion show. The event benefited the House of Ruth, which is a resource for victims of domestic violence in Maryland. Nice stuff.
Not only raising money for a great cause, but it looked like they weren't having a whole lot of fun.
Manning and company from their own 11. With time, little pop over the middle. That is complete to Will Tye. And Tye fighting his way to the 15, maybe even to the 16-yard line. Well, somewhere in the first half, things changed for the New York Giants. Trent, what was it and why?
Well, if you look at the first play of the game, they had the turnover, and since that point, about the middle of the second quarter, they were able to get some things going. They went to this up-tempo offense. They really haven't had big pass plays up the field. They really haven't run the football very well, but they've been effective with the underneath and getting the chains moving.
This is Perkins, makes his way to the 20, and they'll be a yard short of a first down. What we're talking about in the first quarter, Baltimore, 127 yards total. And that's been the high point for them today. Third and short yardage. Manning will throw for it. Little pump. This side of the field. Trip up. Interception is made. Picked off by Tavon Young. Young back inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. The Giants want a penalty marker. There are none on the field.
Well, the officials are just going to say that it was incidental contact, that their legs got tripped up together. You see him in the slot at the top here.
Shepard comes up looking for the flag. Meanwhile, Tavon Young with the interception picks up and makes the return.
Their feet do get tangled together. There is some contact that takes place. Tavon Young has the arm around his waist, but the tripping that went on was more of their legs getting connected together.
Third Giants turnover of the day. Tavon Young, the rookie out of Temple.
The previous play.
Tavon Young with his second interception of the season. They will take a look. We'll take a break. 4:36 to play in the third.
And this is what they're looking at. First it was, did the ball hit the ground? The ball does not hit the ground. Now you got to figure out the spot. Was there contact? And you're going to see as Young hits the ground, you see their feet come together right there. So he's going to be down by contact. The ball will get moved back to about the 42, 43-yard line. That's what the review is about. I don't think the review is about whether or not the ball hit the ground, because it clearly didn't hit the ground, even when he rolled over.
Kind of weird to get credited for a tackle like that, isn't it? Here's Jeff Triplett.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. We were trying to determine whether the receiver was down by contact at the interception spot, and you could not tell on the review. So the ruling on the field stands. First down.
I could tell.
I could tell. They got to see the same replay we did, so it looked like their feet hit together. But
what's the difference? The difference is 16 yards.
Yeah.
So Baltimore on the interception, now at the New York 27-yard line. Flacco gonna loft it for the end zone. It is incomplete. Intended for Kamar Aiken. Oh, excuse me, for Mike Wallace.
Holding, number 28, offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
So Terrence West is guilty of the hold.
Janoris Jenkins here one-on-one with Wallace. coming off of a heck of a game a week ago where he had 2 interceptions against Green Bay. This time coming up with a big play to knock away the touchdown.
Just under 4.5 to play in the third. It's 1st and 20. Baltimore piling up the penalty yards. This is West. Let's get an update from the guys in New York. JB and Coach.
Dolphins capitalizing on turnovers.
Yeah, for Ben interception, the second of the day. Jay Ajayi going to take this over from 1 yard out. And now Miami leads 23-8 late in the third quarter.
Back to Greg Gumbel.
You know, it just goes to show you can't trust anybody on an NFL Sunday afternoon. Where do the Miami Dolphins come from for that showing so far against Pittsburgh?
Yeah, you and I are sitting here watching some of the scores flash by, and it's pretty amazing when you see what they're doing today. And turnovers will do that to you.
Flacco over the middle, wide open. Pitta, and Pitta to about the 25-yard line.
Well, I just got through saying turnovers will do that to you. So right now the Giants have 3 turnovers on the day. Of course, the one doesn't count. I don't think it counts at the end of the half. I know it still counts on Eli's number. At the end of the half, trying to force the ball into triple coverage to get position. But the fumble and the interception here put the Ravens in great field position. So turnovers are a major factor in this case for the Ravens, as much to do with field position as anything.
So a big 3rd and 8 now for Flacco and the Ravens. Pulls it down, throws to this side, and Pitta bounces off of a tackler, but he'll be short of a first down by about 4 yards. And that will bring Justin Tucker onto the field.
Well, when you talk about yards per attempt, we had a big talk about that at the beginning of the game. We've talked about it several times throughout the game. Yards per attempt with this passing game, and right now they're just not able to get the ball down the field. Not very many long completions. They had the big 41-yarder to Perriman earlier, but for the most part, everything has been checkdowns or underneath throws for the Ravens today.
Tucker, 13 for 13 on the season in field goals. This one from 39 yards out. And it is perfect. 2:22 to play in the third, and Baltimore regains the lead at 13-10. Well, screening saves lives in the NFL, and the American Cancer Society encourage everyone to join in the fight against breast cancer. Learn more about A Crucial Catch Day on October 25th. Find out how you can help make a crucial catch at NFL.com/pink. Now on Tuesday, the Giants Women's Club hosted a flag football game. Giants players, including rookie Paul Perkins, served as captains, and a portion of ticket sales were donated to the American Cancer Society for breast cancer research and programs.
(13-10), Greg, and 10 points for Baltimore coming off turnovers. Been a big factor in today's game. Giants need to not go into panic mode right now. If you think of what they've done, we mentioned what they've done from the middle of the second quarter on and how they've really flipped this game from a yardage standpoint, first down standpoint, time of possession standpoint, and really a point standpoint. So can't lose the fact because of that turnover to change what they've been doing.
Both these defenses have been pretty staunch today.
They have been.
Dwayne Harris will not get a chance to return this one. This will go through the end zone for the touchback, and they will start at the 25-yard line. Meanwhile, here comes Eli Manning. He and Joe Flacco doing battle today. Take a look at the comparison.
Not what you're used to with these guys in terms of yards. When you look at the number of yards, both these guys are more accustomed to throwing the ball upfield more. That was a big point of emphasis this week in Baltimore. In New York, with the 3 wide receiver set that they use so much, you would think more of it would be coming. Hasn't quite materialized today. As you just mentioned, Greg, both defenses playing very sound.
So here's Eli from his own 25. And they lob it. Has a man open. Hit him! Odell Beckham Jr. down the sideline for the touchdown.
For the touchdown.
75 yards. I think the game is fun for him again.
Well, we just talked about big plays down the field, and really neither offense or passing game, and very timely. Right when you start talking about all the underneath throws and not many big plays, sure enough, it's going to happen.
Eli had patience and protection. Had patience and protection in the pocket.
Well, and really what he's trying to do is he's trying to get out to the left. He's trying to get the quick throw. He's got a slant and a flat. See him having fun with the kicking net again.
"75 yards is the longest for Eli this season.
Well, and you think about it, 2 throws back to back, right? One was the interception. Set up the Ravens to go ahead and take the lead. Now a 75-yarder to put the Giants back on top.
It's really going to kill them for the time of possession stat.
Yes.
We have a penalty marker down. And then the discussion goes on down to the 20-yard line. 8th time in this career that Odell Beckham Jr. has caught a touchdown pass of 50 or more yards.
His hip must be feeling all right. After you get done with a 75-yard touchdown catch, then you go back to the sideline, you start limping a little bit, rubbing your hip, and then you stop and dance a little bit. So it's amazing with a 75-yard touchdown how much better that makes your hip feel.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 93 of the defense. Blow to the long snapper's head. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. Point after is good.
That penalty is on Lawrence Guy, the defensive end, number 93. Let's go back to the touchdown.
You got Cruz up here at the top. He's just running a go route. What Eli is trying to get to is the slant here. I want you to watch. Eli's eyes are going to be looking this way at the beginning. He's trying to get out to the slant-flat combination. He's looking over there, and then he adjusts to it because of the protection. He's trying to look for a check down, and then he realizes Beckham Jr. has beaten his man up the field. Takes advantage of it.
And remember,
here he is once again, little hitch and go, a spin against Davis.
Remember, no Jimmy Smith out on the field for the Baltimore Ravens.
After seeing that hitch and go, the eyes to the left may have been to draw Weddle over that way. Maybe he was trying to draw Eric Weddle from a safety standpoint.
Eli and his net. Week 3 against Washington, Odell Beckham Jr. took out his frustrations on the net, and the net fought back. And then week 5 against Minnesota, they hugged it out and made up. This will not be returned, and the touchback will start the Ravens at their own 25 once again. Meanwhile, Odell Beckham Jr., who has been fighting the opposition as well as a few of his own demons.
Well, and if
frustration was involved.
Yep, and if you look at not only that has occurred, that has become obviously the media temptation and the media attention is what he's done here today. The first catch of the day, what happens? Hit, fumbled the ball, sets up the Ravens to go in for a touchdown. Then he gets hurt right before the half. He goes in with the injured hip, comes back out, tries to make it work, and then ends up with a 75-yarder. So not only what's going on this season, but what's going on here today.
Flacco gonna go deep, and he has a man open. It is complete. Mike Wallace brought down inside the 10 at the 5, and a penalty marker along with it.
We all of a sudden have some fireworks going on here, Greg. It's big pass play after big pass play now.
We talked about whether or not Marty Morningweg was going to start to stretch the field. That's a stretch.
Well, they've tried a couple times. They've had a couple deep throws. They've tried to get into Wallace, and Jenkins has been in position to bat it away. This time, though, Wallace is able to get free down the sideline.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense. Number 20. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
So Janoris Jenkins guilty.
Little stutter move release on that. Wallace has always possessed a great deal of speed. The thing Wallace is lucky at here, watch how his left leg almost gets pinned underneath Jenkins, which could have been a devastating injury for him and the Ravens, but able to get that leg free.
That 70-yard pickup, Flacco's longest of the year. This is Terrence West. West looking for the end zone. And no touchdown call yet. Just shy of the goal line.
We've mentioned all day long about the offensive line of the Ravens and how it's a patchwork. 4 of the 5 guys in either new spots or new starters.
And they've even undergone some in-game changes today. 2nd and goal. Flacco going to keep it and not going to get there. Lost a little yardage. Flacco has 2 rushing touchdowns on the season.
Yeah, he didn't get anywhere near that. If anything, he lost yardage.
So now it's 3rd and goal.
Hankins and Harrison there in the middle.
West leaping and coming up short. Now what do you do if you're John Harbaugh?
Everything in your gut tells you to go for it. I think you have to kick the field goal, make this a 1-possession game. I think you kick the field goal, but I think they're going to go ahead and let the quarter run out and talk about it some more. Your gut and your everything about it, believe me, you want as a player you want to go for it, as a coach you want to go for it. But I think the smartest thing at this point in time would be to kick the field goal.
They'll have time to think about it as we reach the end of the 3rd. 17-13, Giants back to the Meadowlands after this message and a word from your local station. This game has been spotty at times, but welcome back to the start of what promises to be a great 4th quarter. 4th and goal from the half-yard line for Baltimore, and they're going to go for it. Terrence West, Kyle Juszczyk in the backfield. West, left side, looking for the end zone, won't get there. Jonathan Casillas, the first to hit him, number 52.
Well, before we went to commercial, the reason I was saying kick the field goal is because there's so much time left in the game. Go ahead and get the 3 points, make it a 1-point game. Great response from the Giants. As you said, Casillas shedding the block, making first contact. Herzlich coming over and finishing it off out of bounds.
So the Giants take over on down at their own 2-yard line. Rashad Jennings behind Eli Manning. And gets the handoff and gets maybe a yard, not much more. Giants sideline, as well as the players on the field. Pretty excited after that 4th down stop.
Well, and that was a big play. The defense has been attacked a lot these last few weeks, and to get that type of response, 1st and goal at the inside the 5-yard line, and to hold them out of there, no points, they should be excited about that.
Manning out of his own end zone, over the middle, complete to Jennings, who fights his way out to the 9. And it'll be 3rd and about 3, maybe 2. Depending on where they place the ball, 3rd and 2. what Eli has done throwing the ball on third down today.
You got Beckham one-on-one up top.
Manning. Little short pop. Jennings has first down yardage and then some. Out to the 19-yard line.
Eli once again coming out, trying to throw the combination down here to the right. Has two receivers. He's able to work back to his check down.
What did we say at the beginning of the day, Trent? The primary purpose of the Giants to come out and give Eli time to throw the football.
And they've been able to do that.
This is Jennings. Nothing to it on the left side, maybe a yard. Out to the 20.
Just to reiterate that point, Greg, that on the day, the Ravens, yes, they've been able to get some pressure from time to time. They have no sacks. They have no sacks, and Eli's managed things well in terms of when he has to get the ball out of his hands quickly or finding those matchups. There are injuries in the secondary. Talk about Jimmy Smith leaving this game, so it creates some mismatches for the Giants receivers.
Hey, we got 300 jet. 300 jet. Hey, go 54. 54. Hey, here you go. Here we go.
Here's Manning on 2nd and 9. Looks left, throws incomplete. A little miscommunication there. Sharice Wright close to the interception.
Well, and they're lucky there because Sharice Wright reads it. Victor Cruz is on a different page. He runs to the outside. Wright's looking into the backfield. Cruz does a little dip to the inside and takes a fade down the sideline. Giants lucky on that one.
So it's 3rd and 9.
What is that? 180. What is that? Ray. 180. What's that?
Long count. The pass is complete, but Donnell is not going to be able to get anywhere, courtesy of Eric Weddle. We asked John Harbaugh what kind of an addition Eric Weddle has been for this team.
Been a tremendous leader for this team, both on and off the field, and just having him as a presence in the locker room, presence on the field is had nothing but compliments to say about that addition.
Ladarius Webb back at his own 35. Brad Wing needs to get some distance. Fair catch, called and made at about the 26-yard line. 11:42 to play in the 4th. 17-13 Giants. Hey, welcome back, everyone. While we have a moment, all of us on our crew want to congratulate our extraordinary director of this broadcast, Suzanne Smith, on having been named the 2017 recipient of the Mary Garber Pioneer Award by the Association for Women in Sports Media. That award given for distinguished work in the field while advancing the values and missions of the Association for Women in Sports Media. Congratulations, Suzanne. That pass incomplete. Tipped. Intended for Dennis Pitta. So it'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, on the offensive line right now for the Baltimore Ravens, we talked about it coming in. How many guys are different along that offensive line? Only one guy, Jeremy Zuda, in the middle at center, is in his normal position. Had to shuffle some guys around and had a good start to the game as well as that guy right there, Marty Morningwig. Good start to the game, jumping up 10 points in the first quarter, but they've had some struggles since then.
As you mentioned, a good job by the New York Giants of adjusting.
It has been. Steve Spagnuolo talked this week about this is just, it's a work in progress, and I know everybody talked about all the money that was spent on defense and it should get a big splash right away. You have to remember where they were a year ago and what this defense was like and how much better they are this season. And he said they continue to grow and get better. And I think we've seen that throughout this game, where the things started off and where they've grown as this game moved along.
Third and 9. Flacco with time, gonna go deep, down the far sideline. It is incomplete. And a late flag. Trevin Wade was guarding, and at the last second, looks like he might have reached out and grabbed Mike Wallace.
I would, even from all the way across the field up where we are, you could see there was banging going down the sideline, and I don't think they call it if it just is that. But at the last second, as the ball's in the air, Wade reaches out and pulls his arm back, and you can see it.
Pass interference, defense number 31. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul, first down.
So you're going to see the contact going down the line, going down the sideline here. You see their arms and back and forth, but watch it right here at the end. He grabs it and hooks him and pulls him back, and that's what ultimately gets the flag.
And that's worth a 42-yard pickup.
Look at that, Greg. 14 penalties for 106 yards against 4 for 59.
You know, at the end of the day, you're lucky if that doesn't come back and bite you. First down at the Giants' 30 for Flacco. West. What a workhorse he's been today. To the 20, to the 18. And another Baltimore first down. That's a 12-yard pickup.
Well, trying to run to the right side, and you can just see the flow of the defense over pursuit, giving West the ability to cut back and pick up a first down.
West, 20 carries today for a tough 78 yards. And now the Ravens back knocking at the door. 3 tight ends in on first down. And it's West again. Maybe a yard to the 17. I want to remind you, Week 6 continues later today on Fox, then tonight with Sunday Night Football on NBC. Tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football on ESPN. Remember Jim Harbaugh saying last night, we got to run the football.
Well, they're making a commitment to it. When you look at the number of carries they have.
Flacco lofting it and overthrows everybody. Kenneth Dixon was down there, and so was Dennis Pitta.
Just not enough time. Dixon ends up opening up down that left sideline. He just didn't have enough time to get to it. And what Marty Morningway goes to right here, 3rd and long, heading into the end zone. Everything shortens down and tightens down. Looking at 3rd down conversions, Baltimore started off 3 for 4 on 3rd down conversions, and since then, what, 1 of 9? Yeah. 1 of 9 since that point. So really struggling since the first quarter.
Flacco under pressure, escapes trouble, throws incomplete. Someone somewhere put a cattle prod to this New York Giant front 4 on defense.
They started getting after it a little bit, and talk about the sacks. Some of those sacks coming from the secondary, but this time no secondary. It's just the guys up front. Drop 7 into coverage, so nobody is open for Joe Flacco as he tries to buy time. He has to slide around because that front 4 is making him move.
Justin Tucker has been good on 2 prior attempts. This one from 35 yards out. And he is perfect once again. Baltimore pulls to within 1 with 9:14 to play in regulation.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Voya Financial, changing the way you think of retirement. The Home Depot, more saving, more doing. And by Honda Civic Coupe, be the one they didn't see coming.
Trent, that's the George Washington Bridge. If you want to hop over to Manhattan after the game and say hi to JB and Coach Cower and Tony and Bart and Boomer.
You see up top, the traffic's moving. Down low, not so much. But yeah.
Spoken like someone who has a plan after the game. That's right. 1-point game, 9:14 to play in the 4th. Dwayne Harris is deep and will not get a chance to return this. And the Giant offense will take over at its own 25-yard line. We're coming back to the Meadowlands in just a moment. Speaking of the guys you're going to visit after the game, Trent, Subway postgame show. JB and the guys have the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Subway postgame show. Manning and the Giants from the 25, up by 1. Manning with time, gonna go deep, far sideline. Caught by Odell Beckham Jr.
Little in and out against Cerise Wright. Accurate throw up the field from Eli Manning, putting it right in stride.
And the Giants change ends of the field in a hurry. This is Rainey. And Rainey going to get smothered at about the 34. Michael Pierce leading the charge. These Baltimore Ravens are used to close games. Since 2015, 19 decided by 8 points or fewer. This is the 5th straight year the first 5 games have been decided by 6 or less for the Ravens. Second and 12. Manning throwing, complete. That's the big tight end Donnell, and he is to the 20 for a first down.
I know this is kind of the thing now to try and jump over people, but when you're in the middle of the field, you got 3 defenders collapsing around you, and you wave the ball out with one arm in the air.
Not a good idea.
And it's a 1-point game. When he gets back to the huddle, I'm having a conversation with him as a quarterback, saying you got to understand the situation of the game, where we are in the field. You got to protect that football. It's going to look good on highlights later, but man, that's risky with the football.
Meanwhile, the Ravens' cornerback concerns continue. That was Sharice Wright who just pulled himself off the turf. And that is Zadarius Smith, who is still on the ground for Baltimore. And Smith even slower to get up. How about number 13's afternoon, Trent?
Well, first play out of the game here. Nice catch, but he fumbles the ball. Jimmy Smith knocking it down. He ends up hurting his hip on that play, going in before halftime, and then comes out. Has a nice little out or slant and go.
And I know you wondered if he could have been guilty of taunting on his way to the end zone.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out. He was pointing at the defender as he's running into the end zone. Would that negate the touchdown if the penalty had been thrown? And it would not have negated the touchdown. It would have added on a penalty to the kickoff.
This is Rainey. There will be no gain on the play. It'll be 2nd and 10. 7.5 to play here in the 4th. Giants want to come out of this drive with at least a field goal to give them a 4-point lead. Manning from behind, he goes down. Terrell Suggs.
Well, and Eric Flowers gets beat right off the snap. Last week, Clay Matthews got him a couple of times. This time, Suggs. Really haven't announced his name much today. If you think about it, Flowers been doing a solid job, but that time there, quick hand swipe, getting around to the outside, able to bring Manning down for the sack.
First sack of Eli today. Now on 3rd and 16, the pass over the middle, that's Beckham again. Forward progress will be marked to about the 13-yard line. Ladarius Webb making the hit, and that will bring the field goal unit on.
This cover 2 look, 2 deep shell by the defense. You can see the middle linebacker getting deep in the middle of the field.
And Odell Beckham hobbles to the sideline.
Oh, that left tip. You got to remember that left tip from earlier in the game, right before the half. He went into the locker room to get it checked out.
Josh Brown from 31. And there is the 4-point lead for the Giants. 5:54 to play. 20-16 Giants.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. Welcome to Verizon LTE Advanced, the next-gen network. And by Subway. Try the new thick-cut autumn carb turkey sandwich.
Back at MetLife Stadium, along with our producer Jim Rickoff, our director Suzanne Smith, Greg Trent and Jamie as they look at Terrell Suggs and his elbow, his left arm, on the sideline. Chris Moore not going to run it out. So it'll be Flacco and Baltimore from the 25 and down to Jamie.
Yeah, Greg, from what I can see, they're working just above the elbow. Terrell Suggs came out after he sacked Eli Manning, immediately following, knelt on the sideline for a while. But at this point, the athletic trainers are working on him. He's getting wrapped up. Nothing official from the team yet.
All right, Jamie, thank you. Terrell Suggs, the Baltimore franchise's all-time sack leader with the one he has today, gives him 111 and a half in his 14-year career.
Well, coming into this game, both teams were the walking wounded, and we've had, on both sides of the ball, more guys exit.
Flacco on first down. A little bit behind Brashad Perriman, but looked like one he should have held on to. Want to remind you, tonight, it's one of the most debated issues of the election. Are Syrian refugees coming to the U.S. without proper vetting? Find out on 60 Minutes tonight.
Well, it's important to remember here that Baltimore needs a touchdown deciding early in the fourth quarter, right at the start of the fourth quarter, to go for it on 4th and goal from the 1 instead of kicking a field goal.
With a short pass to West. West trying to get outside, run out of bounds at about the 31. That broke a string of 4 straight incompletions for Flacco.
Well, they've had some effectiveness with the screen game, and once again getting it closer to a 3rd down, getting a shorter 3rd down as opposed to 3rd long.
The crowd sensing a big moment here from the Giant defense. From varying distances, Baltimore 4 for 14 on 3rd downs, and a timeout is now called by the Ravens.
Timeout, Baltimore. Their first. It's a 30-second timeout.
So they use the first of their 3 here in the second half. The Giants have all 3 of theirs remaining as we take the opportunity to remind you Thursday, your weekend begins here. It's an NFC North grudge match. The Chicago Bears visit the Green Bay Packers. Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. So the first thing John Harbaugh needs here is a first down.
Yeah, and that's really a pretty crucial timeout when you consider, because if they don't get it, they've got to try getting the ball back with some time. So having those timeouts would be big.
Flacco going to flip it out here to Juszczyk. Hit. And short of the first down. Janoris Jenkins, Jonathan Casillas coming up for the stop. And now what do you do, John Harbaugh?
Well, it looks like he's going for it. You know, I tend to think with the timeouts and the way your defense is playing, I know I second-guessed them down there before, but I'm thinking you punt it here, put it down there, get your defense to stop them. You've got your 2 timeouts to save clock. You've got a 2-minute warning. Putting a lot of pressure on Marty Morningwig right here as the offensive coordinator to come up with a big 4th down conversion.
4th and 1. Flacco rolls and throws it. Oh, top! Lofted it up, and Kamar Aiken came down with it.
Wow, that's gutsy. I don't know if this is I don't know what the percentages are of completing the pass when you roll out, everybody's covered, and you throw a jump ball when you got Kamar Aiken one-on-one. Landon Collins was in position underneath it. It's just he didn't recognize the ball thrown behind, and give credit to Baltimore and having the guts to go for it.
Big first down, and now here's West on the ground, and West pulls his way inside the Giants 40 to the 38. Clock continues to move, coming up on 3.5 to play. And keep in mind, Baltimore cannot settle for a field goal.
Yeah, they have to go for the touchdown now. It's, as you see that clock winding now, under 3.5 minutes. They still have a couple of timeouts and the 2-minute warning. Ultimately got to get it in the end zone.
91, Mike! Middle, Debbie!
On 2nd and 5, Flacco with time, throwing, use check, and he's hit hard almost immediately by Devon Kennard. Ball will be at the 38-yard line, and it'll be 3rd and 4.
Well, Greg, multiple times today they've had coverage down the field. They've had hit checkdowns. The majority of Joe Flacco's completions have been checkdowns, still under 300 yards. Had a couple big plays up the field, mainly to Mike Wallace. Perriman earlier in the game, but
and yet traditionally, the closer they get, the more this begins to look like feel like a Joe Flacco type moment.
Well, you mentioned how many close games they've been in. Every game this season has been fewer than one possession.
Flacco going to loft it deep down the sideline. It is incomplete, intended for Perriman, and we have a flag.
Flag down, but I got to believe this is going to be offensive pass interference. You would think, since that ball was to the inside, although the officials it looked like they're pointing to move the ball down this way. It looked like Rogers Cromartie had position and Perriman went through him to go get the ball.
Pass interference, defense, number 41. Grabbed the receiver at the waist and pulled him down to prevent him to get to the ball. Ball will be placed in the front of the foul, first down.
Well, I didn't see it live, Greg, and I didn't see it on the replay we had.
Well, it had to have happened before then.
Had to have happened before that point in time because he had position for the ball. The ball was to the inside. Perriman had to go through Rogers Cromartie to get the football. Let's try another view. Let's see. The only thing we can't see there is about the 12-yard line, 15-yard line to 12-yard line. He had that right arm we couldn't see, so.
Baltimore has been fighting the penalty bug all day long, and here they benefit big time. The Ravens, 1st and goal at the 8. Flacco throwing, sideline, complete, and out of bounds at about the 2 to Mike Wallace.
Well, here we go again, Greg. It's the same position. You go back to the start of the 4th quarter. The Ravens had 4 tries from inside the 3-yard line. They didn't get in all 4 plays. Oh yeah, you can see here we're going back to the pass interference call. Look at the right arm here. It's around his waist, around his jersey, pulling him back, and that was what the official called. Good work by our camera guys getting us a look at that.
2nd and goal.
So last time they were down here, Greg, I said all 4 downs, they went for it in running. Didn't have any pass attempts.
Flacco going to throw for it here. Overthrows West out of the backfield. It'll be 3rd and goal. Baltimore, 4 trips to the red zone today. 1 touchdown, 2 field goals.
Got two downs to get it into the end zone. Potentially the 2-minute warning coming up.
And a reminder, the Giants have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Play clock is down to 5. West in the backfield. And they call timeout.
John Harbaugh ran all the way.
Baltimore, their 2nd. It's a 30-second timeout.
John Harbaugh ran all the way down inside the 5-yard line to get the officials' attention.
Red zone, John.
Right at the end of the third, start of the fourth quarter. This is the 4th down attempt from the 1. Casillas shedding the block and making the tackle.
So now it's 3rd and goal. And the Giants looking for another goal line stand.
So the difference is on that series, all 4 plays were runs. So far, 1st down, 2nd down, both of them pass plays. Let's see if they spread them out here. A way to do it would be to spread them out, get them thinking pass, and then try and get the run.
And by the way, Joe Flacco can run with the football. West, left side, end zone, touchdown.
They had a tight end and 3 receivers in the game. They spread them out. They actually ran a fake reverse, made it look like a counter and a reverse. Pitta going underneath to block the backside. And then at the point of attack, West just getting into the end zone. But as you mentioned, Greg, the Giants have all 3 timeouts. They have the 2-minute warning.
Now, a big extra point attempt for the Ravens here.
This could be the difference if the Giants have to, a 3-pointer to win it or 3-pointer to tie it.
Tucker's kick is up and it is good. 2:04 to play in regulation. And the Ravens grab the lead by a score of 23-20.
Well, and the response of the crowd is more about the pass interference call. I don't think it had anything to do with what happened here in the last couple of snaps. It was the fact that drive was really culminated by the pass interference call, setting up 1st and goal.
Just a reminder for you, coming up, the Subway post-game show with all the guys back in New York with the scores and the highlights, all coming up on the Subway post-game show. So Eli Manning, we mentioned it before, it's worth mentioning again, found his rhythm and his game in the first half and has looked like the Eli Manning of old all the way through the second half to now.
Yeah, 29 of 42, 327 yards, does have the 2 touchdown passes. The 2 interceptions, the one is before at the end of the first half. As a quarterback, I don't count that. That was a throw at the end.
You didn't count any of them.
I don't count any of them, right? Right, but Eli, yeah, he's gotten into some good rhythm. Other than the first quarter, then they got into some rhythm here the last 3 quarters. So now they've got to get themselves in position. They can go down, get a touchdown, win this thing, or if anything, put themselves in a spot where they can kick a field goal and try and send it to overtime. Got to remember, Josh Brown, the kicker for the Giants, has made every kick under 50 yards this year.
And that'll result in a touchback coming out to the 25-yard line. So we saw Terrell Suggs go to the sideline, and he is still there.
Well, that's important for the Ravens, but more important for the Giants is the fact Odell Beckham Jr. is coming back out on the field. There was concern with his hip from the first half, his left ribs.
Reese Wright, Jimmy Smith, starting corners, both out of the game for Baltimore as the Giants start from their own 25. Manning, little pop over the middle and off the hands of Rainey. It'll be 2nd and 10 as we reach the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play at MetLife Stadium. The Ravens, 23-20. Back at MetLife Stadium, welcome to those of you joining us. 2 minutes to play here in regulation. Baltimore with a 23-20 lead on the Giants. The Ravens led 10-7 at halftime. Then Eli Manning found his rhythm thanks to the no-huddle offense. Caught fire. And the Ravens just scored a touchdown prior to the 2-minute warning to grab a 23-20 lead.
180! 26!
Manning over the middle. And that's the big tight end, Larry Donnell. Across the 30 to the 31-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 4. fifth time. That's Donnell again, and Donnell looking for the first down and went out of bounds, short of the first down yardage.
Well, when you're that big and you've got that size advantage over the corner, I don't understand why he's doing all the shimmy, trying to juke him out and make a move on Young. Lower your shoulder and go get the first down. Now you've got fourth down.
Young goes about 5'9", 177. Donnell is 6'6", 265. 4th and 1.
We're at 118. 1-6.
Manning on the slant. Beckham! Beckham! Touchdown! There is a flag thrown in the end zone after the play. "66 yards. And back to the net, which is the Holy Grail.
He's got to get a promotion for that net company, doesn't he? And there's all that.
We have a player down at about the 40-yard line. And that is Tavon Young, the cornerback. He's going to walk off the field.
Well, we were just talking about up here that we thought Beckham was a decoy. Or I thought Beckham was a decoy because the first two...
After the play is over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 13 of the offense, taking his helmet off on the field. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Now, let's remember that penalty and see how it figures into the attempted comeback of the Baltimore Ravens, because that cost them 15 yards.
Coach Harbaugh running down there to ask if he can use the yardage on the extra point to push this extra point back even further. Jeff Triplett telling him no, waving him off, saying it's got to go on the kickoff. 33-yarder all of a sudden becoming a 48-yard extra point.
Brown's extra point kick is good. And it's 27-23. We go back to the touchdown.
Well, Beckham Jr. just has a slant route here. They're going to run a flat, so that draws the safety up, leaves a big gap here in the middle of the field. The three previous plays, Beckham Jr. is nursing that left rib and left hip. This time just catches the slant. I wasn't sure he was going to have enough to get to the end zone because of that injury. He clearly has more than enough to get into the end zone, and there's the penalty. You saw him unstrapping his helmet. Just a rub off there. Eric Weddle and Tavon Young ran into each other. I don't know how bad his hip was feeling before that play, but a good 10, 15 yards into the play, it sure felt pretty good.
Odell Beckham Jr., 8 catches, 222 yards, a career high, and 2 touchdowns. And we'll see if that penalty, that unsportsmanlike penalty, comes back to bite them.
Well, the net's not going to come back and bite him, but that penalty sure may come back and bite him because it's that's a costly thing. You take the good and the bad with Odell Beckham Jr. There's going to be some things that he does tremendously well. Obviously, catching a slant and taking it that far for a touchdown. You mentioned, Greg, over 200 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. But that 15-yard penalty, that's very crucial now, as Baltimore still has 1 timeout remaining. They do, however, need to get a touchdown.
Del Schaffner back in 1962 had 269 yards receiving. Beckham's 222 today is second best in Giants history. This is Chris Moore. And tripped up and falls forward over the 30 to about the 33-yard line. So now Joe Flacco goes to work and Eli Manning becomes the spectator. 32 of 46 for 402.
Well, after a rough start to the day for the Giants offensively, Eli Manning and the rest of the offense got hot.
So now here's Flacco.
Still have that one timeout, so you can take a shot to the middle of the field. You want to preserve as much time as you possibly can and work the sidelines, but also need big chunks.
Flacco short over the middle, complete, and for a first down to the 45 is Kamar Aiken. 1:10 to play.
They're kind of taking their time considering this clock is running.
Flacco short again over the middle. And this is Mike Wallace. And Wallace with another first down to the Giants 43.
Go ahead and spike the ball here. Save that timeout. No urgency still with the Ravens kind of taking their time a little bit.
40 seconds to play. Over the middle, that is complete. Just inside the 40 to the 39 goes Perriman.
Well, they wasted.
Timeout. Baltimore. Their third and final charge timeout. It'll be 30 seconds in length.
Well, you'd rather see him spike the ball than use that timeout. But really, aren't those interchangeable? Couldn't you do that anyway?
Well, if you're going to throw a 5-yard completion over the ball, I mean, that wasted, what, 20 seconds? By the time they got up, they got the ball snapped, they throw a 5-yard completion. You either spike the ball, save it, try and push it up the field more, or call the timeout if you're just going to throw it underneath. So that wasted a lot of valuable time.
It's a nice little test for Marty Morningweg, his first day at the job, huh?
Welcome to your new job.
Yeah. 2nd and 5. Baltimore out of timeouts. Does Flacco look to the sideline or does he go to the end zone? Got hit from behind. It's incomplete. That was Jason Pierre-Paul. It'll be 3rd and 5.
Well, Pierre-Paul coming off that, what would be Flacco's left side, beating the rookie Alex Lewis, causing the errant throw.
Raven trying to correct the 2-game slide.
Reset the game clock to 27 seconds.
Giants on a 3-game losing streak.
Thank you.
3rd and 5. 27 to play. Flacco. Incomplete. Landon Collins almost had it.
Well, and he had Mike Wallace there on a dig route. He just threw it too high. Giants are going to double cloud, which basically they have 3 deep defenders, but then they also have secondary defenders underneath that trying to protect the sideline. So you have some big windows in the middle of the field. But 4th and 5, the important thing here is you got to pick up a first down.
They need the 34 for a first down. Flacco going to go for it all down the middle of the field. Incomplete. We have a penalty marker down.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 58 in the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That penalty is on Owa Odizigara.
Oh, he took 3 steps. That was an easy call for Jeff Triplett to make. You got to understand the situation. The 4th down, you can't take 2.5, 3 steps and hit a quarterback in that situation.
Timeout. Giants.
So the Giants use a timeout with 15 seconds to play.
Timeout.
Take another look.
One, 2.5. They're just not going to let that happen.
Let's not forget, they had a 15-yard advantage at the kickoff.
Well, and go back to the last series when they got their touchdown, the pass interference call that gave them 1st and goal inside the 10. So some crucial penalties for the Giants. Both teams over 100 yards in penalties.
Giants 27, Baltimore 23.
So let's look forward here. 15 seconds left, no timeouts. So you've got to get it into the end zone or get out of bounds. I don't know if you have enough time to run up and spike it.
sideline. Wide open, and he overthrew him. Mike Wallace was wide open, and Flacco just plain old missed him.
I'm lost here, Greg. How do you leave him? I know that you're trying to, from a coverage standpoint, you're trying to play a double cloud where you put guys over the top and somebody underneath, but nobody was underneath.
Well, those giant defenders in the secondary are so deep.
Rocco!
They couldn't have gotten there in time to break it up. 2nd and 10, 11 seconds to play. Quick pass to the sideline, this time up high and separated from the football. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie hit Mike Wallace. It'll be 3rd and 10 and 7 seconds on the clock.
Well, after the last play, from a defensive standpoint, the big hit from Rodgers-Cromartie there, knocking the ball loose. Got to go to the end zone here or a quick throw out of bounds. You take any time at all, this is going to be the last play.
Play clock is down to 8. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that'll be a delay of game.
Delay of game, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Doesn't make a whole lot of difference.
It does. If anything, it gives you a little bit more space. It takes longer for the receivers to get in the end zone because unless you're running that quick 5-yard out or 10-yard stop route on the sideline and jump out of bounds, you've got to get the ball in the end zone here.
3rd and 15. Flacco on the move, lots of room in front of him. He throws toward the end zone. Incomplete.
That's the end of the game.
The Giants with a 27-23 win.
Watches this ball. Flacco gets out to the right. He throws this ball. Kamar Aiken. That was more the response of Rodgers-Cromartie there. I thought maybe Aiken had ended up open, but he peels to the outside. By that time, the ball was already in the air. That's about all Flacco could do at that point in time.
This was a really good punch, counter-punch afternoon for both these teams.
Well, and you have to remember, at the end of the 3rd quarter, start of the 4th, they had it down inside the 5-yard line. They decided to go for it on 4th down instead of kicking the field goal. With that field goal, would have been a 1-point game. You could have tried a field goal at the end to try and win it, but that's what they decided to do. They got the touchdown to take the lead, but then the slant pass to Odell Beckham Jr. from Eli Manning gave the Giants the lead and ultimately the win.
This will be a tough ride home to Baltimore for the Ravens. And a pretty sweet drive home for the New York Giants.
Well, in 3 straight losses now for Baltimore. All games that they felt like they could win. And as you said, tough ride home for those guys. Great comeback by Eli Manning, though.
Oh, yeah. Let's go down to Jamie.
Oh, Mike.
Odell, wow, an unbelievable game. I saw you all on the sideline all game. You're in a lot of pain. How did you pull through in that finish?
By the grace of God, to be honest with you, I said that I prayed for strength, and he gave it to me. You know, we came out early, first play, fumble. How are we going to overcome adversity? How are we going to do that? You know, we came out Minnesota, we had a fumble on the point, and we could never turn it around, could never overcome adversity. So just to stay fighting, to keep fighting the way that this team did today, that's what we need from us all season.
What was bothering you most in terms of that left side pain?
It's ab, oblique, somewhere in that side stomach area, but anytime I'd move, it was pinching. Like I said, grace of God.
We talked on Friday about people calling you a distraction, but you seem to have the answer for them today. When you play like that, when you have a catch like that, that's such a difference. Is that a statement in your mind?
It's no statement. It's just I feel like I could do that. I feel like I'm capable of it. I want to do that. I feel like all my life I've never been able to to reach my potential. And I know that after the NFL, there is no more football. So I want to be the very best that I could be. Blessed to be doing this. Happy to be out here with this team. And the way we fought today is amazing.
Thanks, Odell.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Odell Beckham Jr. has been in the headlines. Tomorrow he'll be back in the headlines for an entirely different reason.
What a start and finish. You think one catch to start the game, 5 yards, got tackled. Last catch, 5 yards, took it to 66 to the house.
Final score, the Giants 27, the Baltimore Ravens 23. Coming up next, the Subway postgame show for Trent, Jamie, for all of us here at the Meadowlands.